All right, I'd like to call to order the Clarkston Independence District Library Board of Trustees meeting for February 4th. The meeting is called to order at 6 p.m. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Jan Gaffney, here. Michelle Gann, here. Dan Green,
Here.
Mary Himbert, here. Allison McFadden-Kiesling, here. Carolyn Pomeroy,
Here.
and absent, Julie Meredith, here.
Okay, I'll accept a motion for approval of the agenda.
So move.
Second. Been moved and seconded that the agenda be approved as presented. Any questions or comments? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Call to the public.
Yes, the Friends Spring General Board meeting is scheduled for Thursday, April 11th. It will be held in this room. Secondly, the Friends, after information from the insurance representatives and information from surrounding libraries, have decided at this point in time they do not need bonding or event insurance. And the third thing is the Friends have agreed to have another holiday sale for 2019, and that will be Saturday, December 7th, but they've changed the hours. It will just be from 10 to 3, Saturday only.
Okay, thank you. That ends our call to the public for tonight at 6:02. I'll now accept a motion for approval of the consent agenda. So moved.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to remove any item for discussion? If not, those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Our library statistics are not quite ready yet. It's too early in the month. So we will move to the library director's report.
Okay. Under general information, I do have a little bit of statistics to add for tonight. On Monday, January 28th, the library closed at 2 p.m. due to deteriorating road conditions. On January 30th and 31st, despite severe wind chill, the library was able to remain open to serve the community. Clarkston and Independence Township do not have official warming centers, so the library was able to offer warmth, power, and internet, as well as all other library services to those who needed them. We had 606 patrons visit the library on those 2 days. While this is lower than our usual Wednesday and Thursday traffic flows, it still comes out to an average of approximately 28 visitors per hour over that 2-day period. In addition, we checked out 785 items, such as books, DVDs, etc., on Wednesday, and 796 items on Thursday. In terms of project updates, at a special meeting on January 16th, the library board voted to make an appointment of a full-time community relations volunteer coordinator. Unfortunately, after the appointment was made, the candidate contacted me to let me know that her significant other was unexpectedly offered a job in Tennessee and that she would be moving with him in a couple of months. So the selection committee decided to repost the job. The posting will close on February 15th and interviews will take place shortly thereafter. Next item, over the course of the past few years, the library has been struggling with continuing issues with the fire suppression system. While the library is closed for President's Day, we will be bringing in a company to do significant repair work on the main pipes. Once those pipes are fixed, the technicians will repressurize the entire system and address continuing issues with the compressor. We are hopeful that these repairs will significantly improve the situation. Next item, the bulk of the work on the new business area is complete. The room is currently open for use using the same policy as the study rooms until the library board reviews and approves the business area use policy. The items in the business area that still need to be completed include installation of new signage, installation of the smart board, connection of power and data in the top of the conference table, frosting the glass in the business area and the study rooms. There will be a ribbon cutting for the business area scheduled in March, in which the business community and public will be invited. Next item, in preparation for the construction of the outbuilding on the west side of the property by Clarkston High School's construction trades class, the lead custodian and I have worked with multiple vendors to finalize details, including the door, timing, etc. It is proposed to complete the project by the end of the school year. And then last but not least, the head of circulation and I are continuing to work with Library Design Associates to develop a plan for a circulation office at the circulation desk. This will provide much-needed workspace for the circulation employees while alleviating staff space issues in the back room. We anticipate having a proposal for the board to review in the next month or two.
Thank you. We have to say the birds look lovely.
They're only temporary.
It was a good idea, though. I have a comment to make. I just would like to commend any and all staff who came to work on those 2 very, very cold days.
They're here.
They made the library look great.
Yes, thank you. I did pass on the messages that I got from the board to the staff via email.
But I wanted to say that for the camera.
Yes, thank you.
And I think there were lots of grateful parents who were able to bring their kids someplace.
Kids.
And grandkids.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely. On to regular business. Number 1.
Okay, I'll do the intro and then I'll let you take over from there. As part of the 4-year technology plan, the IT department is replacing computers in a pattern of half of the staff PCs each of the first 2 years, and then the public computers all at once, with a year of no replacement, keeping the equipment fresh and running smoothly. 2019 is the first year of the cycle, and 3 vendors were sent a request for the machines that we had selected as the replacements. The lowest cost for the equipment was from GHA Technologies, a company that CIDL has done business with in the past and has been happy with the service. This is a budgeted item. All materials will come out of budget line 980 and equipment as part of the 4-year technology plan. So Mr. Bowman is here to answer any and all technological questions that are out of my jurisdiction.
You want to share anything with us?
It's just, the 12 machines and an additional 6 monitors, because some of the machines I'm replacing are all-in-ones, which is, or they have monitors that are too old to connect to newer technologies.
Right.
So this is the first in a series of refreshes, as it said in there. And I chose a machine that I'll be able to purchase over the next couple of years, so that we can have a consistent images on our end and stuff like that, so that all of the machines are the same.
Are compatible.
Yep,
Okay.
in pretty much the same way, so that if we need parts, we can get them in bulk or whatever we need to do with that sort of thing.
Okay. And you've worked with GHA before.
Many
so
times.
That works well.
And clearly it's a reasonable price because they're all like really close together.
Mhm.
That's always a good sign, actually, so.
All right, are there any other questions? Thank you for providing all of the information for us. If there are no other questions, I'll accept a motion.
So we'll to approve the purchase for the quote.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the staff computer replacement proposal. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you, Bill, for your work on that. Now next.
To continue our upgrades for the public network, the patron should be able to print from wireless devices, including phones, laptops, and tablet computers. To this end, I, meaning Bill, have had several vendors send me solutions to solve this issue. After looking at solutions from TBS, PaperCut, and Envisionware, who each sent solutions that allow submission of print jobs from anywhere to be printed to our printers, we felt that due to the ease of integration, the existing relationship with the company, and the price for the solution, that we should purchase the solution recommended by Envisionware. The software is a prepaid 4-year subscription at a cost of $2,315, and this is a budgeted item.
Okay, and that subscription is not for each year, it's for the entire 4-year period.
The entire 4-year period, yes.
Any comments or questions about that? We thank you so much for your due diligence
I
here.
think the public's going to love that.
Yes.
And when it says from anywhere, that means pretty much from anywhere, from your house, from anywhere in the building, anything like that. So you'll be able to submit print jobs from any device that you happen to have access to and that sort of thing as well. So if somebody's at home and their printer breaks, they just submit the job online, come here, release it and print it out that way.
Now, how do we monitor these items that might be printed from outside of the building? They're just sitting there in the tray?
That's the advantage of the way that our system works. A print job is not released until it's paid for. So it sits in a queue waiting for the person to come in, sign in, and then pay for that job before it actually spits it out on the printer. So that way nobody's going to steal print jobs.
But if it's on their computer or their laptop at home they don't need to have the device with them.
Not necessarily, no, but a lot of them will.
Right, because
And-
it'll be on their tablet or their phone.
Right, and a lot of people come to me asking, hey, can I print from my phone? Well, that's not available yet, but this is one of the ones.
That's very, I've had to do
The
that.
solution will help.
Yes.
That's great.
And it protects the privacy of the person sending the job. All right.
An incredible convenience.
Yes.
Thank you.
I got a quick question. How long does the print job stay in the queue?
Till midnight.
Till midnight, so at the end of
Just
every
till midnight.
night?
At the end of every night, any print jobs that have not been released or have not been, the software will hold a job even once it's been printed until midnight. So in case we need to reprint that job, they
Really?
can come back and, oh, I really need to read that, it didn't come out, I
Right.
need another copy, whatever, I can go back into the system, log back in and see my jobs and print another copy of that. But at midnight, they're all
Sure,
They're all gone.
All
That's
right.
great.
And when do we foresee this
Excellent.
starting?
in the next couple of weeks, easily, yeah.
That's
It doesn't take very long to get the installation part of it done.
All right. Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll accept a motion.
I'll move to approve the quote for the wireless printing from Envisionware for $2,315.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the proposal to upgrade our wireless printing for $2,315 for a 4-year subscription. Any other comments or questions? If not, those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Okay, now review and approval of photography and video policy.
Clarkson Independent District Library's mission statement is the community's cornerstone of lifelong learning through innovation, enrichment, and education. This pushes us to stay on top of technology and engagement. However, libraries are also in a position of balancing patron privacy. The Michigan Library Privacy Act, MLPA, approved in 1982, is instrumental in assisting us to protect our patrons, but unfortunately was written at a time when the importance of engaging the community through social media hadn't even been conceived yet. When developing the policies for the library, creating a photography and video policy that fell within the parameters of MLPA while still allowing us to engage the community through social media in ways that our patrons expect was a huge stumbling block. Fortunately, a number of libraries have been able to strike the balance and have now had their policies in place long enough to see how they function in real life. Attached is a draft of their policies in place as a draft of their policies along with a number of examples from other libraries that provided guidance for us. Our draft policy is mirrored off of a policy created by the director of the Kent District Library, who is a librarian and an attorney. His previous position was the library law specialist for the Library of Michigan, where he provided policy guidance to libraries throughout the state of Michigan. The CIDL policy has been in place since March 19th of 2015.
Okay, and Kent County is the area around Grand Rapids.
So this is actually Evan's proposal, so I'm going to kind of wing it a little bit here. He and I talked about it. He has the flu. He went home.
That's good. That's good that we went home.
He didn't really want him here presenting to us, so I very carefully got the information that I needed. So the library policies that you have attached include Kent District, Orion Township, Lyon Township, Dearborn, Troy, Farmington, Novi, Baldwin, and Rochester. The policy that he has put out there would allow us to use photos on social media and the website without identifying anyone, which is the sticking point when you're running into the Michigan Library Privacy Act. And then what he is proposing is that it would be standard policy that if the person in the photo or the parent of the person in the photo objects, we would just immediately take the photo down, which would solve that problem. In terms of his statement in terms of personal anecdotes, because he was in charge of social media over at Novi before he came here, if a complaint arises, we can remove the image very easily. Having worked at Novi as a primary social media content creator, there was never in my 5 years there an issue where we had to remove an image or video because of a patron complaint. Reaction to photos of patrons and children at programs were positive and increased activity. Social media and marketing content that contains images and videos from programs and the community have higher engagement than stock photos. In addition to this policy, those capturing images from programs can get verbal permission from patrons to use the image. So basically, he's saying that we would let people know we're going to be taking some pictures, we may use them on social media. If you don't want your kids in the photos, maybe you want to sit over in this area and we'll take pictures over in this area instead. So just kind of letting people know that's what we're up to.
Is that what the newspaper does too when they come?
The newspaper has a little bit easier time because they're taking a specific photo and they're getting the permission, and a lot of times they're getting written permission. The problem that we have is we're taking photos in a very large room full of kids, and we don't really have the staff to take the photo and then, you know, hunt down the parent and that kind of thing. The paper does do that. They will hunt down the parent and make sure that they have permission.
I liked the Kent District one because it was more concise. Some of them were quite wordy, and I thought that just
That's sort of a downfall of our profession. We tend to be wordy.
that is true.
We're very verbal.
I like this one, and I think it will serve its purpose very well.
Yep.
Right. And we thank you for including the examples from which
There's a lot of
this was
examples.
crafted.
Right, he did a lot of work putting this all
He did.
together and, you know, and it was kind of helpful to
Feels better.
see what other libraries were doing.
Plus his former knowledge of that
Yeah.
area was very useful.
It's very helpful. And it's true that pictures, photos that include like real people from the community are vastly preferable to stock photos. Everybody, because we've seen those stock photos everywhere for years. And I really do think that you will get a better response. It's clearly taken in our library. It's, you know,
Yep.
taken with people from our community. I think that's,
And dogs from our community.
Yes, and dogs from our community. That was very nice
It's
also.
all about the dogs.
Those were a good example.
Yeah.
Indeed. Excuse me. I will accept a motion on this item.
I move to approve the photography and video policy as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the photography and video policy as presented. Any other comments? In that case, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Now, the business center use policy.
Yes. So now that the business center is nearly completed, it's time to put a policy in place that ensures the space is used as intended. The attached policy addresses the specific concerns of this new space while aligning with the current meeting room and study room policies. And Mr. Nguyen is here to talk to you about that tonight.
So maybe it's a little bit longer than the photography policy, because it's a little more complicated when you have a room that is freely available to the public. And so I really needed to try to cover every situation to ensure if there was an issue, we had a policy to back up why we did something. So as you guys saw, you know, library staff and board and all of our programs get access first, and then it's explicit that the members of the Chamber of Commerce get preference, because I really wanted it to be a chamber benefit. And so I really tried to cover a lot of bases, similar to the social media policy. I looked at 30 or 40 policies of meeting rooms from all over the state, and a few from elsewhere. And so it's really kind of informed by a lot of other policies. So it's exciting, because this is just a little more step for us to be able to begin taking reservations from members of the community, which I have a lot of requests for now.
good, yeah, because it's right there when anybody walks into the
That's
building. I like very much that you made sure that it could not be used for someone selling something or doing something. That was, you know, good to think of that in advance, because
Well,
You know,
it's
you don't know
existing
when somebody-
policy.
right.
And so like the liability paragraphs and other things are actually taken from existing policy when I.
for our other meeting rooms, yeah.
Right.
But it's good to, you know, especially when you're dealing with members of the chamber, with businesses, because that's what they do, they conduct business, so they just need, it needs to be very clear to them that, yeah, you can use this to have meetings about your business, but you can't be selling things, because it does imply that maybe the library or the library board have approved that item, and I think that it's really good that that's taken care of in advance.
I do have one kind of concern.
Sure.
The fact that we're giving priority to the chamber members, is that really, the fact that we're giving priority to the chamber members, it's one entity again, it's one group within our whole community. How does that work?
Sure. So, I mean, I talked with Julie about this. I have I have no problem trying to rationalize this because of the relationship that the library has with the Chamber of Commerce. So as you know, my position was explicitly created to really strengthen the tie between the library and the chamber. So I spend a lot of my time, probably 50% of my time, with chamber members, whether it's in emailing them data, it's going to meetings, it's being on committees, it's being at events. So the library has, that existing relationship. And to your point that it's one group, I'm comfortable with that because we have a variety of spaces available in the library, and there is no other room where a particular preference is given. It is really only in the business center.
That's
So
right.
I'm comfortable with it also because it's not a very large, space. And so if someone, were to say, why do you have this preference? I said, well, we have a preference, but it's not like a particular type of preference. They might get to use it more. They might, get to use it longer. It's really going to be on a case-by-case situation, which is why I left it kind of, vague, to really try to meet the needs of whatever that, member has going on. Maybe they have a training that needs to last, 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm comfortable with that because I already spend a lot of my time with them and I really want it to be a benefit. It only makes the library look like we're even a bigger supporter of the business community. So I'm comfortable with it. I could rationalize it all day long because I think it's a good benefit and all the positive information, that we've gotten back from the community. Including, I'll say, I've raised $4,750 from the business community for the space. So they're actively supporting us, and so I think it's kind of the least we could do is give them preference for this one little space in the building.
And it wouldn't include if somebody else had followed the policy and made a reservation, they would not be asked, oh, sorry, somebody from the chamber wants to use it at that time that you...
Yeah, so that's a good question. So if a non-chamber member has made a reservation, no, I'm not going to say, oh, I'm sorry, we need to cancel your reservation. It's still first come, first served. But I just wanted something in there to kind of explicitly say this is a business center first and foremost, and it is first and foremost for chamber members.
Well,
With a lot of flexibility in there.
since when we were trying to get our millage passed, one of our promises to the community was that we would engage a business librarian and provide services to our smaller, since we're a community of smaller businesses as opposed to box stores, we did want to support that. And so I'm real pleased that they're able to come in, because we knew that you would have to go out. So it's nice to also have a place where they can come in. And I was pleased when I came in to see that there was someone using the center who is obviously not a business person, and that was good. We hate to see it sit empty.
Exactly. And the door will never be locked, always be open, so people can go in and use it.
I agree with everything you just said. However, chamber membership requires dues paying. Okay, so you buy into being a member of the chamber. And
Sure.
if you are a small business person who doesn't have the means or is not inclined because of some kind of politics to not buy into being a member of the chamber, you're automatically excluded. And so we're catering to an entity that you have to buy into rather than, and we offered to support the whole business community,
Right.
not just chamber members of the business community. And that's, I fully support the chamber, but I think when I look at, I'm always the one that, when you look at every penny of the taxpayers' dollars that come to the community to support this, should we really, really be saying that one entity will have a little priority over the other?
Well, I mean, I'm comfortable with it only because nobody is excluded if they fit the policy, which is very broad.
But do we even need that in our policy then?
It's important because it's a big part of my job.
Is
to
that
cater
to
to-
show, you
Well,
just want
I
to show
mean-
the chamber like I'm here half the time, so I'm going to give you a perk? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just having a struggle with this.
I mean, we serve Independence Township in the village, as you know, and, the Clarkson Chamber is not even just, the city and the village, or, the township and the village. And
Right.
so, it's not exclusionary, but it's saying that, because we have that tie, I'm willing to do a little bit more and go that extra step, as I do with all members and non-members. I mean, I'm never checking names out of the directory as I do my job. I mean, I help people in Oakland County, in Macomb County, and all over the place. So my job is not restricted to the township by any means. I have referrals from everywhere. But because of our relationship, that's why that's in there.
But I do believe it does say in that first sentence that the center is intended to provide meeting space to members of the Clarkston Area Chamber of Commerce, business owners and professionals and community groups. I think that's broad enough.
We're naming one particular group.
Right, I think,
There are other community groups too.
Right, and they're included.
But we're not naming them. We're advertising for one community group.
it has more to do with the fact that we're using the chamber to help us get that word out because they are also assisting us in making the connection with the business community. It saves us some trouble of, if we didn't have some connection with the chamber, then Trevor would be in a position where he would literally have to go to every single business in the community to try and make that connection. So it's not so much that we're saying we're giving special privilege to the chamber. We're saying we're using the chamber as a partner to help us make sure that people know we have this service. So we're not excluding any business, but they are helping us to also broadcast the fact that the library has this service, that we have a business center, and they're helping us to get that information out there.
So it's
In
for
a-
all
in a networking
businesses,
sort of.
not just chamber businesses, right? All
That's correct.
businesses. Okay.
I hear what you're saying, and I actually agree with you. I think that what you're taking exception to is in the first line, number one under conditions, second line, excuse me. Member businesses and individuals of the Clarkston Area Chamber of Commerce will be given priority after all library programs and events have been scheduled. I guess what she's saying, and I support it. Why do we need that there? I know you're saying you're comfortable with it. I'm not as comfortable with that. And I hear what you're saying with having it up there, and I think that it's fine to have it up here at the beginning. You have it mentioned up here
In the top.
in the very top, yeah, Clarkston Chamber of Commerce, business owners and professionals. It's very inclusive, but I think that it's a slippery slope, and that's what you're taking exception to, Mickey, and I hear you. I agree. So that
I mean, I'm
makes me
comfortable if it's more of an unspoken understanding, but I added it in there because I wanted it to be a stated relationship that is reflective of the relationship that I have with the people, that I work with there.
Yeah. But I
Would the
think-
policy be
We're not
that
giving
different if I
priority
removed it?
To
No.
members of the Clarkston
Just-
Community
really, it's just that
Schools
one
policy,
sentence,
and we
I
have a
think.
working policy with them.
Yeah, so I
I'm sorry,
think
say it
that-
again?
We're not giving priority to members of the Clarkston Community Schools community, and we have a working ongoing
Right.
working relationship with them.
I think that to leave the language at the top is one thing, but to actually state that one sentence, I think that Allison kind of hit the nail right on the head. If you just, and quite honestly, if you're not going to ask someone else to give up the space if they followed the policy and made a reservation, it's kind of a moot point, I think anyways, if you just take out that one sentence where it says member businesses and individuals will be given priority. You're still including your relationship, you're still talking about the chamber at the top in your intro to the
Mhm.
policy.
I mean, if it makes you uncomfortable, that one sentence can certainly be removed. Because, I mean, as you stated, no reservation would be canceled because a chamber
Right.
member can bump anybody. That's
Right.
not in the policy.
You know, I
It's not my
understand
intention.
that.
That's okay. I completely understand.
I guess if you went on with that sentence, will be given priority, and non-members will not. I mean, that's kind of what it says. If you're not a member, then
Yeah.
you won't be given that same priority.
In other words, I like it better in the first paragraph.
That's okay, that sentence can be removed. You can, I don't know how that's done with the policy, but it can be approved without the sentence, and I can certainly make the change.
We can do that as amended,
Yeah.
or as corrected.
Is that the only concern? I'm happy to address
That was
others.
my concern with it, and please don't take it personally, it was just.
Oh,
my
no, definitely
concern
don't take it
through
personally.
the
It's my
history of
job, it's not me.
whole Clarkston volunteering, it's always been the person to do that.
Would you like to make the motion?
I will make the motion. I move to approve the consent, excuse me. I move to approve the business center use policy as amended, which is the removal of the second sentence under conditions number 1, the second sentence, removing member businesses and individuals of the Clarkston Area Chamber of Commerce will be given priority.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the review and approval of the business center use policy as amended by removing the second sentence under number 1, conditions. Any other comments or questions? If not, all those in favor of the amendment as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion is carried. Thank you, Trevor, for provoking. Now you know we read it.
Most lively conversation you'll have today, right? I'm just glad everybody read it, that's a good thing.
Thank you for being here so we can discuss it.
Now we'll move to business center finances. Yep. Number 5.
This is an easy one. This one isn't Trevor's, this one's mine. The library approved the business center project and made a budget adjustment of $60,860 to accommodate the approved expenses. However, the invoice came in at $61,445, a difference of $585. This occurred because there was a slight adjustment made to the order on the furniture for the study rooms and business space that was approved via email, but was inadvertently overlooked in the quote that we used to make the January budget adjustment. A change in the chair bases and an additional stain-resistant protective finish on the fabric accounts for the additional $585. In order to accommodate this additional cost, an addition of $585 is needed from undesignated revenue to line 975 building, and there is adequate funding in undesignated revenue to do this.
Okay, that's pretty simple. I'll accept the motion.
I move that we approve a budget adjustment of $585 from undesignated revenue to line 975 building and approve the payment of the library design invoice of $61,445.
Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve a budget adjustment of $585 from undesignated revenue to line 975 building and approve the payment of the library design invoice of $61,445. Any comments, questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Number 6, petty cash.
Public libraries in Michigan are formally established under state law, and oops, I skipped one. I have the wrong one.
Well, they must be in the wrong order because I have the other one in.
Here's that one.
Oh, you have it.
I think my packet's out of order.
No, everybody's here.
Everybody.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay,
Public.
keep us on our
Oh,
toes.
no, this is.
That's not it either, huh?
Hold on.
They're all out of order.
It's right over here.
Got it.
This is it.
Before, yeah.
It's after, it's for the last week.
Oh, there it is. I put them out of order. Sorry about that.
There you go.
Got it. Checked and double checked it and still got it out of order. Okay. It is common practice in libraries and other governmental entities to establish a petty cash system to reimburse an employee for minor, immediate, or miscellaneous expenses. These funds should only be used when cash is the most efficient method of payment. By using petty cash, it will no longer be necessary for an employee to wait for the next check run to be reimbursed by an accounts payable check for a small purchase made on behalf of the library. In addition, the money in the petty cash box could be used to make change for the circulation drawers should an unexpectedly large bill be used to pay a very small fine at a time when an immediate trip to the bank would not be possible. Included in the package is a simple, straightforward system of petty cash based off of the petty cash plans used by other entities. And this is something that Erica put together for you.
All right.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. First question, $200 to last for the whole month seems like a small amount. If that, I mean, if you're talking about like replenishing the petty cash only once a month, I think you're gonna find that it's gonna need to get done probably every check run. But that's just more of a comment.
Well, it would be submitted to be replenished every month, at the end of the month, or I guess as needed if we did
Okay.
just find
I
it.
mean,
So it should probably say as needed.
Yeah, it would really just be, $200 would be what we were always attempting to bring it back to.
right, yeah, and you don't want to have a huge amount, I get that.
Right.
It's a reasonable amount to be holding in the safe, but I just think you're gonna find you're replenishing it more often than once a month. But the other question I have about that is, will this then be included as part of the audit? Typically, petty cash funds are periodically audited when I was with the city, it was done by the internal audit department. Obviously, we don't have an internal audit department, but
We don't.
but it's sometimes, it's just, every once in a while, it's kind of a good idea for somebody to come in and review what's, what's in the box and
But
make
our
sure that
accountant
it's.
doesn't work in-house, so we could have her do that one, maybe quarterly?
That's probably,
Would that,
yeah, that,
Would
that,
that
prob-
be-
right, that's probably
because she
something.
would be the equivalent of our internal.
Right, because she's not actually handling it. You want it to be someone
Yep.
who is not actually handling the money, just to come in and kind of look at it.
I think she would be willing to do that.
Do we need to add that to the policy?
I never wrote a petty
Just
cash
as a-
policy.
as a
I
practice.
was in charge of petty
Or
cash at
each-
DPW for years.
I will send a report at the end of each month. It'll be separated from that, like daily cash receipts that are sent to her anyway, so she will see, like, I believe it was included, of
Yeah.
how to replenish the box, and she can see, you'll be entering whatever we're charging, and, yeah.
Would that just become number 4 under replenishment?
Yeah, I think you still, besides that function, you do want somebody just to come in, and sometimes the city, they like to do it unscheduled. They would just show up in my office one day and I'm here to audit your petty cash to make sure that I wasn't making loans to other employees out of the petty cash fund.
Or oneself.
Right, just, I mean, it's,
Would you like it to happen a certain number of times per year, or would you like it to happen randomly, no less than a certain number of times?
yeah, kind of maybe randomly, and probably even twice a year randomly. If you can't be prepared for it, then you're always going to be, I mean, and none of this is meant as a reflection on anyone. I just, it's, when you're dealing with public money, you have to.
Well, that's how we're establishing it too.
Yeah.
Because
Right. No, it's a great idea. I was quite pleased to see that after your short time here, you're already proposing policies on the good work.
That are useful to us.
Yes, it was a great idea. I guess I never even thought about it. If anyone had asked me, I would have assumed there was a petty cash fund, so it's a very good idea.
So how about number 4, under replenishing the cash box, an audit conducted by the library's accountant will be conducted twice a year on a random basis. Does that?
Yeah,
fit the bill? Okay.
that should take care of it.
I have that written down. I'll get that to you.
Okay. Are we ready to make a motion?
Yeah, I will move that we approve the petty cash policy as amended.
We're busy amending things tonight, aren't we?
Well, that just shows we're paying attention.
We're paying attention. Is there a second?
Erica, I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we accept the petty cash policy as amended. If there are no other questions or comments, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Who do not approve, say nay. Motion is carried. Now,
Sorry about that. I had the state aid report out.
okay, now we're on.
Now we're on state aid report.
Okay.
Okay. Public libraries in Michigan are formally established under state law and must file a report with the Library of Michigan each year in order to maintain their certification. This certification verifies a library's eligibility for state aid funds, penal fine money, and governmental grants. Filing season begins in October and has an electronic filing deadline of February 1st, 2019. Within your packet, you will find the state aid report that was submitted for this year. Because the library has a different fiscal year than the state of Michigan, January to December versus October through September, the report that was just submitted covers January 1st to December 31st, 2017. So this is, from our perspective, it's old data, but this is the data that was just submitted based on the requirements, state requirements. So I apologize for the small print, that's as big as it gets.
Yeah, very long, Julie.
Yeah.
It is a long report. The staff and I have a system though. We are currently gathering the 2018 data so that when the filing season starts, I just have it all in a big file folder. So I sit down and submit it all, and it's done very, very quickly. So this was all stuff that they gave me in January of 2018. It was then submitted, so. There is, you can kind of see in some of the areas where there's comparative data, the data side by side. The bold is last year, and the lighter print to the left is this year.
No, review that one more time. So the first
As
list,
you're looking through
Yes.
the data,
the date on the left.
the data on the left that is not in bold would be the current, the 2017 data.
Okay.
And then the data that would be on the right that is in bold would be the previous years till the 2016.
Okay, so where I thought was going
It would be
down a
even
little bit,
older
it's actually
data.
going up a little bit.
Yeah,
Because
so things are-
in
most
my
things are
head, I
going up a
should
little
do
bit,
that.
yeah.
Okay. That's good, because I was looking at that saying,
For example, if you look on page 6 where we're at part 8, capital outlay, you can see the difference where under building expenditures in 2016, there was $169,188, whereas in 2017, the furnishings and equipment expenditures are $88,596, and the building expenditures are $91,432. So the difference is, in 2016, we did the parking lot, which is a building expenditure, whereas in 2017, we were doing things like all of the new seating area in the adult area, making changes to the meeting room, that sort of thing.
good,
All right?
yeah?
The other one.
Yes. Now, do we get a response from the state on any of this?
We get a lovely email that says, thank you for submitting your report.
Nobody's reviewing them, they just,
No, they compile it and then they actually make reports available where you can go in and ask for comparative data between ourselves and other libraries of various class sizes, that sort of thing. When it comes to making actual data-driven decisions, we often use the DSLRT data though, which is more up to the minute. That we actually submit in October and November, and the data is compiled and done by the end of the year. So it's much more quickly
Correct.
released in terms of wages, in terms of
Right.
hours and benefits and things like that. So this is the data that if you're looking to make, for example, for a millage campaign or something like that, and you want to do larger comparative data over time, compare us to other libraries of similar sizes, that kind of thing. If you're trying to make, for example, expanding a building or something like that, that's where this data is more handy. But if you're doing that sort of day-to-day operations kind of thing, using that DSLRT data is a lot more timely.
timely.
Yeah, which is why we do both, because they both have value.
All right, any other questions? If not, I'll accept well, we don't need to vote on that. Just thank you
Let you know that we have done it.
And number 8, the approval of the RFP for the annual audit.
In December, we received a notification from Stevens, Karinovic, and Tucker, the library's auditing firm, that they are in the process of merging with Maynard Costerison, a mid-market accounting and consulting firm located in Lansing. Approximately 2 years ago, Stevens, Karinovic, and Tucker split from Abraham and Gaffney and maintained the previous contract that we had through the 2017 audit. We received the same thorough and efficient audit experience we appreciated from previous years. While I suspect we would most likely have a similar transition experience this time, we are due to bid out the audit. So I prepared an RFP for board approval to allow us to review all of our options. I've requested 3-year pricing proposals that provide us with the option to withdraw if we determine we would like to go a different direction after, not just after the first year, but after any of the years. And this is a very, very similar RFP to what we used the last time we did it out. I just kind of went through and made some tweaks and changes to it.
I have a logistical question.
Yes.
Where is this, where do we publish this?
Usually what I do, we post it on our website, we send it out to the listservs, and we ask directors who are using various auditing firms to send it out. We have a number of auditing firms that we definitely will send it to that we know specialize in governmental accounting, to make sure that they've seen it. But that's how we post it out.
That's how it's supposed to.
Yep.
That was just.
I was wondering that too,
Yep.
how the word gets out.
Yep. There are 384 library systems in Michigan, so when we send it out to that listserv and say, you know, if you're working with an auditing firm that you really like, would you please make sure that our RFP gets to them? And that's a good way to get it out to ones that it helps us to make sure that it gets to the ones that are governmentally specific, because that's a different kind of accounting than,
That's not their specialty.
no.
And most of those types of firms have somebody who watches for postings or
Exactly, yep.
opportunities. They find them, trust me.
They do.
I'm sure.
So if we approve this tonight, how soon will this go out, since we want it on by the 13th?
Tomorrow. We'll get it posted tomorrow, I'll send it out in the morning, so.
Because that's a timely,
It is. Well, and I did talk to a couple of auditors and say, how much time do you want? And they said, not a good idea to give us a lot of time. We're just going to wait till the last day to do it if you do that anyway, so.
And then they miss the deadline. and-
Yeah, she said, don't, a couple of them I talked to said, don't give us a lot of time, just make
Yeah,
it
well,
quick.
they have,
They're prepared to give
they have
them
boilerplate
RFPs.
proposals that, you know,
And this is a boilerplate RFP. that-
right, so their boilerplate proposal will
be
match up
prepped.
very nicely against the
Indeed.
RFP. That shouldn't really be a problem. They should be ready to go.
Because
like,
your
pretty
meeting
much
isn't
at
until later in March anyway, and I thought about giving them more time, and I talked to a couple of auditors who were like, no, don't
No.
give us a bunch of time, we're just gonna waste
Yeah,
it.
and you want to have your contract in place well in advance of when your audit starts,
Yeah.
so that you're on their schedule.
Yeah.
So I don't think that.
that sounds
that
fine,
you-
and this is similar to the one that we used before.
Mhm.
So are there any questions or comments on that? If not, I will accept a motion.
I move that we approve the RFP for the annual audit as presented.
So second?
Which one are we
I
gonna?
think maybe she was quicker here. Allison, a little quicker off the mark that time.
Oh, that's, I didn't hear you go.
She's
All
speaking
those-
so softly.
If there are any comments or questions, if not, those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
If you don't approve, nay. Motion is carried. And now, Dan, I will accept a motion for adjournment.
Well, I so move.
Second.
Yes,
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. Those in favor, please say aye.
please. Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Motion is approved, and we will adjourn at 6:46.